Good evening. Welcome to the midweek update. This week in Thrive, we talked about a very serious subject. What happens when Christians disagree and decide to part ways? This is an important topic, especially in light of what's happening in our church. But it's going to be an important topic throughout all of students' lives, because there are often times where people who love the Lord come to a place where they can't keep going the same direction. And so this week we talked about Paul and Barnabas, and that's found in Acts chapter 15, verse 36. Sometime later, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let us go back and visit the believers in all the towns where we preached the word of the Lord and see how they are doing." Barnabas wanted to take John, also called Mark, with them, but Paul did not think it was wise to take him because he had deserted them in Pamphylia and had not continued with them in the work. They had such a sharp disagreement that they parted company. Barnabas took Mark and sailed for Cyprus, but Paul chose Silas and left, commended by the believers to the grace of the Lord. He went through Syria and Cilicia, that's probably not right, but oh well, strengthening the churches. So, in Luke's account in Acts, Luke is always following Paul. And from this passage onward, we get a view of what happens in Paul's ministry. He goes on, continues in the work of the Lord, and is eventually brought to Rome and put to trial and all that stuff. But this is a moment in Paul's life where he has been with a friend for a long time. They've been ministering together, they've preached the word together, and they have decided that because of this disagreement, they can't keep doing it together. Now, what's interesting about this is that even though we don't know what happens in Barnabas' life after this moment, we know that he continues on in the work of the Lord. When Christians part ways, it doesn't mean they cease to be Christians. It means that God is calling them in different directions. Sometimes that happens like it does in this passage with a disagreement, but other times that happens just because the call of God on someone leads them to go down a path that the rest of their body or that their ministry partners or that even their close friends can't go down with them. And we discussed in Thrive what this means for students. Students are going to quickly graduate, be called to go different directions. They'll no longer be a part of Thrive. They'll be a part of whatever college they're at or whatever career path they take. Their ministries will diverge from here. And that doesn't mean that they're not all Christians. That doesn't even mean anything bad. It just means that God takes us different directions, and we should be willing to follow Him wherever He leads. So I encourage parents to talk to their students about this important concept. Students, I encourage you to be in prayer about where God will be leading you in the future. And I pray for all of us, for all of you, that God will continue to call you in the direction that He wants you to go and that you will continue to hear His voice.